All right, so what we're gonna do, these wire pliers work better than scissors because the scissors are not quite sturdy enough. And the tubing, you can get any size tubing from the hardware store. This is 1/4 inch diameter, and I think it is, does that look like a 16th inch wall or 8th inch? That you can get sturdier straw at the hardware store. The tubing is for the ice makers.
Okay.
So you can tell them what dimensions you want. They can order it.
I can take that.
Yeah, and I'll give you extra of this. And then this is from Sally Beauty Supply. It's never been used. It is a food grade plastic. It's marked by ounces. This has a really tight seal, which is why I like it better than the Honey Bear bottles. And so what I do to get an idea of how far to put this in is I stick the straw in it. I look at the light, and I can see about how far down it is. You want to cut it above wherever the straw is the first time because you want this to barely fit through. So you can see where the straw is. Can you see it in there?
Mm-hmm.
So I've got to cut it a little bit bigger. So I'm going to go down a little bit more. You just don't want to make it too big. If you make a mistake and you make it too big, you can put medical tape on the outside of it. That's waterproof so that it'll seal it really well. You want this to barely fit through there. So I just know I'm going to make it too big. Well, okay, so it's coming up. Now, another thing you can do to make it thread through a little easier is just cut this on a slant, just till you get it threaded, and then level it off so that it's not going to poke him. Okay, so now it's going to barely come through. It's like really super tight. You want it as tight as you can possibly get it. You only need about 1 inch of this sticking up from the end. If you have more than that, it's going to go too far in his mouth. And then when you put the lid on the shoulder here of the little bottle, you can see how far down the tubing needs to go. I would keep the end of it cut on a slant so it doesn't get stuck on the bottom wall. It's okay if it's too long. I wouldn't make it too short. Okay, so then you just check it to see, okay, it's all the way in. Now, whatever liquid you put in here, you have to be sure the tubing end is in the liquid, because if it's like this.
Yeah.
Okay, so when you have fluid in here, you can tell how many ounces it is, or you can weigh it, but you can mark, it's marked by ounces. To see how fast it's going to flow out before you present it to the person, press it, and it shows you how little pressure you need for it to come up. Now, what's nice about using this kind of tubing is you can actually see it as it comes up. And when you're presenting it, I would keep it by the upper surface of the teeth, not the lower. So you want to go under the top teeth, because if you go down here, it'll make their tongue stick out. So if you go by the top teeth, their lower jaw and lip will close on it, and you can get suction from the tongue in 1, 2, 3, press. I won't do it in this mouth, but you're going to do 1, 2, 3, press. And I would count out loud so they know when it's coming. If Dominic's able to pull it in all by himself, that's great. I wouldn't do more than 2 sucks at a time until he learns to control the amount that's in his mouth. Yeah. So 1, 2, 3, press. 1, 2, 3, press. And then when you're presenting it with him, support his head so his nose does not point up. You want his nose pointing down a little bit so any excess comes out the front of his mouth. All right, so let's